It's been one of those weeks where India seems to be everywhere at once. Defense deals in Australia, missile agreements with the UK, British universities setting up shop here, and even a late-night call with Netanyahu about Gaza. On the surface, it's all business as usual. But take a look closer, and you'll see India is quietly stitching together a much bigger game plan here. Let's unpack it all. Good morning. Welcome to Top of the Morning by Mint. I'm your host, Nelson John. This is your smart daily briefing on what matters. From big moves in business to headlines shaping India and the world, we cut through the noise so you start your day informed and ahead. It's Friday, October 10th. Let's get started. Here's the thing about partnerships in uncertain times. They're either strengthened or fade. India and Australia just chose the former. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Australian Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles signed 3 major defence agreements in Canberra on Thursday. The pacts cover information sharing, submarine search and rescue cooperation, and establish joint staff talks between the armed forces. Now, this comes exactly 5 years after the two countries elevated their relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership. And the timing? Well, they matter. The 2-day visit marks the inaugural Australia-India Defence Ministers' dialogue, and both sides call the progress in bilateral defence partnerships unprecedented. They're not exaggerating. Since 2020, the ministers have met 4 times, each meeting pushing cooperation deeper into areas like military exercises, maritime security, defence industry collaboration, and joint research. Rajnath Singh didn't mince words when discussing regional threats. On Pakistan, he was direct. Terror and talks cannot go together. Terror and trade cannot go together. And water and blood cannot flow together. But the real story here is what's happening in the Indo-Pacific. Both countries, alongside with the US and Japan, through the Quad partnership, are pushing back against China's expanding military footprint in the region. Beijing has been setting up military bases, pressing maritime claims, and extracting strategic concessions from smaller nations. The joint statement highlighted plans for a maritime security roadmap and stronger cooperation on maritime domain awareness. Australia and India will hold their second collaborative activity during Exercise Malabar in November 2025. The focus on submarine rescue cooperation is particularly significant given the underwater dimension of Indo-Pacific security. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese briefly joined the meeting, signalling the importance Canberra places on this relationship. Both leaders emphasized their commitment to a free, open, peaceful, stable, and prosperous Indo-Pacific, and reaffirmed support for freedom of navigation consistent with international laws. What this really means is two democracies are building muscle where it counts. Intelligence sharing, underwater capabilities, and coordinated military planning. In a region where power dynamics shift quickly, these aren't just symbolic gestures. While Keir Starmer met Narendra Modi in Mumbai on Thursday, British warships are already off India's western coast participating in Exercise Konkan. The timing wasn't coincidental. The two prime ministers announced a £350 million defence deal for lightweight multi-role missile systems heading to the Indian Army. These are the same air defence missiles Thales manufactures in Belfast for Ukraine, securing 700 jobs at the factory. But here's what matters. Britain's Defence Ministry called this a gateway to a broader complex weapons partnership under negotiation. The word initial in the joint statement is doing heavy lifting. There's more. A second deal worth £250 million covers electric propulsion systems for Indian warships, building on discussions that have been ongoing for years. What this really means is Britain's positioning itself as a long-term defence partner, while India diversifies its military suppliers. For the UK, it's a strategic bet on one of the world's largest defence markets. India needs 70 million university places by 2035. It currently has 40 million students. That gap, isn't going unnoticed. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday announced that Lancaster and Surrey universities have received approval to set up campuses in India. With this, Britain will have the biggest higher education footprint in the country. The numbers tell the story. 9 UK universities will now operate in India. Southampton opened a campus in Delhi early this year. York, Aberdeen, Bristol, Liverpool, Queen's University, Belfast and Coventry are launching next year. Starmer arrived in Mumbai with 125 British business leaders, making clear this isn't just about education. He announced the UK-India Technology Security Initiative to boost investment and called for a hands-on approach to implementing trade deals between the two countries. What this really means is Britain is betting big on India's education boom while positioning itself for deeper economic ties. Benjamin Netanyahu was in the middle of a security cabinet meeting on Thursday, discussing the Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. He paused it to take a call from Narendra Modi. The Indian Prime Minister called to congratulate Netanyahu on the progress made under Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan. This came shortly after Modi spoke to Donald Trump about the same issue. We welcome the agreement on the release of hostages and enhanced humanitarian assistance to the people of Gaza, Modi wrote on X. He added his standard line: terrorism in any form or manifestation is unacceptable anywhere in the world. According to the Israeli PMO, Modi noted that Netanyahu has always been a close friend and that their friendship will remain strong. Netanyahu thanked him for his support and both agreed to continue close cooperation. The deal announced by Trump on Wednesday is the first phase of a 20-point US-backed plan involving a ceasefire and prisoner exchanges between Israel and Hamas. 10 months after a tragedy that killed 38 people, Vladimir Putin finally said what Azerbaijan wanted to hear. The Russian president told Ilham Aliyev on Thursday that Moscow will compensate Azerbaijan for accidentally downing an Azerbaijani airline passenger plane last December. The two leaders met face-to-face in Dushanbe, Tajikistan, for the first time in a year. The plane was flying from Baku to Grozny on December 25, 2025, when Russian air defense mistakenly hit it. With 67 people aboard, the pilots attempted an emergency landing in Kazakhstan. But the aircraft crashed near Aktu, killing 38 people. Baku accused Moscow of denying the distressed plane permission to land on Russian territory, forcing the fatal Kazakhstan attempt. Putin apologized at the time but didn't actually take responsibility. Thursday was different. He acknowledged Russian air defense missiles detonated several meters from the plane after Ukrainian drones entered Russian airspace. Everything that is required in such tragic cases will be done by the Russian side on compensation, Putin told Aliyev. It's our duty to give an objective assessment of everything that happened. Aliyev thanked Putin for monitoring the investigation. The crash strained relations between the two former Soviet republics for months, but Putin now describes Baku as a reliable ally. That's all for today. Thank you for joining. We are eagerly looking forward to our next Top of the Morning episode, which will be packed with the latest news. Until then, this is Nelson John signing off. Have a great day.